Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Nidonomics. Today, I just want to talk a little bit about the trade war with China, give a couple of updates of what's going on, and take a look at a couple of charts here I found during my sort of day to day. And so, I guess I'll start. So obviously, as we know, the the, the trade war, President Trump announced that you know there was a deal, and so people like me sort of take that with a grain of salt. It's sort of expected. I think that you know President Trump always sort of jumps to conclusions. He's always looking for that big marketing play of announcing a big trade deal, and then nothing ends up happening. So that's actually what I expect long term with the trade war with China. I'm actually expecting everything to go back the way it was before Trump became president. And he's probably going to come out and announce a huge, groundbreaking, historically large trade deal, better than anything in the history of the world. And then, if you actually look at the deal, it'll end up being just going back to where we were before he became president. So that, that's what I'm expecting. It's based on what I've seen from him, and so this recent announcement on I believe it was Sunday, about they came to an agreement, and then he kind of tempered it and said, well, no, we're going to work it out over the next 3 to 5 weeks, and then China came back and I think uh, and said, well, we'll see what happens essentially. Um, and I think here's one thing that a lot of people don't realize with this trade war is that China's telling their people the exact same thing as Trump is telling us. Trump tells us we're winning. China's about to cave. We can beat them if we just keep pressing. And China's telling their people the exact same thing. The Chinese are very proud people. They have a very long history of being strong and fighting, and they've actually been taken advantage of in prior trade deals, and so they don't want that to happen again, and they feel more powerful now because they do export so much to us. They do have more power now than I think they used to have, and so I don't think they're going to sign any trade deal that makes them appear to be weak, because their citizens will be upset if China let the U.S. take advantage of them again. And so that's why I think a lot of this deadlock is coming from. And that's why I think breaking up the deadlock is going to be tough, because both sides don't want to appear weak. I actually tend to think China has the advantage just because Trump has an election coming up. China doesn't. And so it puts Trump, I think, at a disadvantage to where if he pushes too hard, he has a lot more downside than the Chinese. And I think economically China has more power than what we're giving them. And so that is the segue. We look at China's exports and imports year over year. They have come down since the trade war started. Now, I will temper that statement with, look at, essentially 2015, 2016, it was essentially similar to how it was now. And so, and if you look back more historical, I don't have it here, it does tend to cycle. So, so you might see some charts like this, and people say, oh, well, the trade war is affecting China significantly, but ultimately, I don't know. Obviously, it is a little bit, because they are exporting less to us. There is less demand. That's what sort of the tariffs are. I mean, tariffs are effectively a tax, and so a tax lowers demand, and so China's having, and so you are seeing the effects here. But again, expect Trump to announce a big trade deal at some point in the next year. He's going to announce a huge groundbreaking deal was signed, just like he did with Mexico, and that deal has still not been signed. So Mexico actually passed it, but it's held up in the U.S. Congress, but if you remember back, after that deal was signed, there was a lot of hoopla made about how great of a deal it was, and it still hasn't gone into effect. And so I'm expecting the same thing with China. There's going to be a lot of hoopla made about a deal being signed at some point in the next year. And then, as an investor, you're going to want to look into it. You're going to want to read the details, see, okay, what exactly does it say? Now, from where we are today, I think any deal that removes the tariffs is a big deal. But it's not going to be this great all-time historical huge deal signed that we're going to see tweeted out. It's just going to be going back to where we were before Trump took office, before Trump initiated any tariffs. I mean, we could even get hurt. China may end up better off, just because I think the experts they have negotiating the trade are a little better than who we have. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Like I say, I think that a lot of Americans don't realize the Chinese are telling their people the same thing as us, and so that can cause issues if China doesn't come forward with a strong foot. Their people will be upset. And so we'll see what happens. At least for now, though, there are signs that the trade war is affecting both economies, and I think that both sides want to end it. But at the end of the day, both sides don't want to appear weak. And so, like I say, just expect at some point a big announcement of a huge trade deal being signed. Odds are there's nothing going to be signed. It's just going to be an announcement, but just expect it. And like I say, before you're getting too excited, read up on it, and that's sort of my quick take on the trade war. And so for now, signing off, Nidonomics. If you have any questions, comment, subscribe. I can answer anything you would have to ask. So for now, I will see you next time.